Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Echo of Life. His name was Alex. If you passed him on the street, you might not notice anything unusual. He carried himself well enough. He had a steady job. He was polite. And if you asked his friends, they'd probably say he was doing okay. But what people didn't see was the quiet, daily conflict unfolding inside his mind. For as long as he could remember, Alex felt like he was always slightly off the mark. Not failing outright, just never quite meeting the invisible standard. Not enough for his parents, who subtly measured him against his older sister. Not enough for his teachers, who noted he was bright but didn't apply himself. Not enough for his partners, who seemed to drift away, leaving him to wonder if something inside him was quietly, irreparably flawed. The truth is, Alex's story isn't unique. It's achingly common. That lingering sense of inadequacy, of never truly measuring up, is one of the quietest, most pervasive forms of quiet suffering people carry. It doesn't always show. It hides behind smiles, behind achievements, behind the facade of doing fine. But inside, it erodes self-worth like slow-moving water on stone. You know this feeling, don't you? That restless whisper in the back of your mind that says, "You should be further along by now. You should be stronger, smarter, more successful, more together." No matter what you accomplish, no matter how much praise you collect, it's never quite enough to quiet that voice. Psychologists call this conditional self-worth, the belief that your value depends on meeting certain conditions: grades, income, approval, appearance, performance. And when those conditions aren't met, you don't just feel disappointment. You feel you are the disappointment. Alex knew this feeling deeply. Every compliment seemed to slide right off him, while every criticism landed like a weight. Praise felt fleeting. Criticism felt permanent. He could recall a misstep from a decade ago more vividly than any success from last month. Here's the cruel part. This mindset isn't just self-created. It's cultivated, almost engineered, by the world we live in. From childhood, we're measured, ranked, graded, and compared. The education system teaches early, your worth is tied to your performance. Social media reinforces it. Your worth is in your engagement, your followers. Consumer culture whispers, your worth is in what you own, how you look, how you present. Millions grow up like Alex, carrying an invisible ruler that's always just a little too long. No matter how far they stretch, the finish line keeps moving. It's important to understand, this isn't just a personal flaw. It's not simply some people are insecure. Statistically, rates of low self-esteem and feelings of inadequacy have risen sharply in recent decades. Studies suggest that a significant majority of people worldwide struggle with some form of low self-worth. Think about that. Most of the people you pass on the street are quietly wrestling with a version of not good enough. Why? Part of the answer lies in how our brains evolved. Thousands of years ago, belonging to a group was a matter of survival. Rejection meant danger. So the human brain developed a keen sensitivity to social standing, comparison, and perceived failure. That wiring is still with us. Now, it's amplified by modern systems, schools, corporations, media, algorithms, all subtly designed to make you question whether you're enough, so you'll strive harder, consume more, stay plugged into the cycle. Alex didn't know the science. He just knew that every day felt like running a race with no finish line. He'd set a goal, achieve it, and instead of feeling pride, he'd immediately set the next one further out. He believed that if he just worked harder, accomplished more, maybe then he'd finally feel like enough. But that day never came. Maybe you know this cycle, too. You tell yourself, if I just lose the weight, then I'll feel confident. But when you do, you want to lose a little more. If I just get the promotion, then I'll feel successful. But once you have it, you're already eyeing the next level. This is the treadmill effect. You're running, but never arriving. The pain of never being enough isn't loud. It's quiet. It shows up in hesitation before speaking, in deflecting compliments, in over-apologizing, in quietly resenting others' successes because their light seems to cast a shadow over your own. Alex's pain surfaced in small ways, too. He'd rewrite emails endlessly, afraid of sounding foolish. He'd stay silent in meetings, convinced his ideas weren't sharp enough. He'd scroll through social media late at night, comparing his behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel, sinking into that familiar heaviness in his chest. But here's the truth that Alex, and so many of us, struggle to see. The feeling of never being good enough is not proof that you're broken. It's proof that you're human in a system that profits from your doubt. The very industries that feed you comparison sell you the products meant to fix it. It's not accidental. It's by design. Now, let's pause and clarify. I'm not saying personal responsibility doesn't matter. Growth is beautiful. Effort is meaningful. But there's a crucial difference between striving from a place of self-respect and striving from a place of self-rejection. The first expands you. The second depletes you. That's the heart of this pain. When good enough becomes a horizon you can never reach, life becomes a perpetual chase. You're never fully present, never able to rest, because you're always reaching for that next measure of worth. Think how exhausting that is. Imagine carrying a backpack filled with stones, each one a belief. I'm not smart enough. I'm not accomplished enough. I'm not likable enough. Over time, it doesn't matter how strong you are, the weight wears you down. Alex didn't realize how heavy his pack had become until one morning he woke up and thought, I don't even know who I am beyond this endless striving. That's the real danger. This pain doesn't just wound self-esteem, it erodes your very sense of self. You start to believe you are the inadequacy, that you are fundamentally, permanently lacking. But here's something powerful. That belief, however convincing, is not the truth. Neuroscience shows that the brain is adaptable. The same neural pathways that reinforce self-criticism can, over time, be rewired to support self-compassion. It's not easy, and it doesn't happen overnight, but it is possible. This struggle isn't new. Ancient philosophies have long recognized that suffering often comes not from who we are, but from who we think we should be. Modern psychology echoes this. Self-worth doesn't have to be conditional. It can be intrinsic, something you hold not because of what you do, but simply because you exist. But here's the catch. Knowing this intellectually is one thing. Feeling it in your bones is another. And that's where the real journey begins. Alex is still on that journey. And if you've ever felt this way, if you've ever looked in the mirror and thought, no matter what I do, it's never enough, then you know the weight of that burden. The question isn't whether the pain is real. It is. The question is, how do we respond? The first step is recognition. You can't change what you refuse to name. So much suffering around worth comes from silence. We hide it, assuming everyone else has it figured out. But when you name it, when you say, yes, I struggle with feeling like I'm not enough, you bring it into the light, and in the light, it loses some of its power. The second step is perspective. Remember, this isn't just personal. It's cultural, systemic. That means it's not your weakness or defect. It's a predictable response to living in a society built on comparison and conditional value. When you see it that way, shame begins to lift. It shifts from I'm broken to the system is broken. That subtle shift can be freeing. But recognition alone isn't enough. You need tools, practical ways to retrain your mind and reconnect with your sense of worth. Modern psychology offers several. For example, studies show that self-compassion, speaking to yourself as you would to a dear friend, significantly reduces anxiety, depression, and feelings of inadequacy. Research from institutions like the University of Wisconsin found that regular self-compassion practice actually changes brain activity in areas linked to emotional regulation. Kindness toward yourself isn't just sentimental, it's neurological nourishment. Another practice is reframing. This doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending everything's perfect. It means consciously shifting how you interpret events. Instead of thinking, I failed because I'm not capable, you might reframe it as, I didn't succeed this time, but I learned something I didn't know before. Over time, this builds resilience instead of shame. Beyond psychology, there's a deeper, almost philosophical truth many traditions point toward. You don't have to earn your worth. It's not external. It's not given by others. It exists by the very fact of your being. Think of it this way. A newborn has inherent value without having achieved anything. That truth doesn't vanish as we grow older. It only gets buried under layers of expectation and comparison. Alex began to understand this slowly. He started journaling at night, not about what he'd accomplished, but about who he'd been that day. Did he listen well? Did he notice something beautiful? Did he offer kindness even quietly? Those became his quiet markers of value. And though the old voice of inadequacy still spoke, he began to hear something new underneath, a whisper of acceptance. That's the third step, reorienting your measurement of worth. Instead of chasing endless external validation, you begin to cultivate internal validation. You learn to define enough on your own terms. This doesn't mean giving up on goals. It means refusing to tie your identity to them. You strive from curiosity, not desperation. This isn't easy. It's not a quick fix. Healing from never enough is less like flipping a switch and more like tending a garden. It's daily work. Some days you'll forget. Some days the old voice will roar. But over time, with practice, the soil changes and what grows in it changes too. Let's get practical. If you wanted to start this shift today, what could you do? Here are 3 simple but powerful practices. The enough list. Each evening, write down 3 things that made you enough today. They don't have to be grand. I made my bed. I listened when a friend needed to talk. I took a deep breath when I felt overwhelmed. Over time, this retrains your brain to notice value in being, not just achieving. Comparison detox. Choose one day a week to intentionally step away from social media, ads, or anything that bombards you with comparison. Give your nervous system a break. Studies show even short breaks boost self-esteem and life satisfaction. Self-compassion pause. The next time you catch yourself thinking, I'm not good enough, stop and ask, would I say this to someone I love? If the answer is no, rephrase it with kindness. This interrupts the old neural loop and plants a new one. These sound simple, but simplicity practiced consistently is powerful. Stepping back, the pain of never being enough isn't just an individual experience. It's part of a collective crisis of meaning. We're so busy trying to prove ourselves that we forget to be ourselves. We confuse worth with performance, trading depth for the appearance of success. But imagine a world where people lived from a sense of enoughness. Imagine students learning from curiosity, not fear. Imagine people contributing not to prove their worth, but because they already knew they had it. Imagine relationships built on acceptance, not insecurity. That world begins in small, personal choices. The choice to treat yourself with dignity, to define your own enough, to step off the endless race that never lets you arrive. Alex is still on his journey. He hasn't silenced the voice completely, but he's learning to live alongside it differently. He's learning that worth isn't found in perfection, but in presence. That the question isn't, am I good enough yet? But, can I allow myself to be enough right now as I am? Maybe that's the question for you too. Because the truth is, there will always be another standard to chase, another comparison to make, another reason to feel inadequate. That chase never ends. But your ability to step out of it, even for a moment, to breathe, to say, I am enough here now without proving, without performing, that is where freedom begins. So if you've been carrying the weight of never good enough, consider this. Maybe the weight was never yours to carry. Maybe your worth was never something to be earned. Maybe it was always something to be remembered. And if you can remember that, even in glimpses, the pain begins to soften. The chase begins to slow, and life, in all its imperfect beauty, begins to feel a little more like home. Because in the end, you are not your achievements, your failures, or your comparisons. You are not the ruler or the scorecard. You are something deeper, older,
Inadequacy.
and far more worthy than any measure could ever capture. You are enough. You always have been. Thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe my channel for more update.